Okay, so I will be using this laptop. Lovely. I want to start, I guess, by going all highbrow on you guys and talking about Barbie. Now, there are a few things that you may or may not know about her. For a start, she's 57, pretty much in her prime, I think you'll agree, and is the driving force behind one of the world's biggest toy businesses, the mighty, mighty Mattel. Her home is California, but a Malibu dream house doesn't come cheap these days, and Barbie has had to work her ass off to earn it. She's basically the embodiment of the phrase portfolio career, having taken on more than 180 different jobs, pretty much 3 new roles every single year. Now, Barbie embraced space travel 4 years before Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon. She had her first crack at the presidency in 1992, way before Hillary even became First Lady. She ran again last year, this time on an all-female ticket with one of her other Barbie chums. We all know it didn't end especially well, but the point is really this. Mattel somehow, unbelievably, allowed this part of the Barbie story, her potential to nurture the aspirations of a young female generation, to take a back seat to handbags and high heels. And in the eyes of the public, and of parents, crucially as well, she became a whipping girl for body size issues, a kind of gender stereotype incarnate, with critics claiming that the doll promoted an unhealthy focus on looks over brains to suggestible children. So the doll essentially became nothing more than blonde hair and an unattainable figure in the public consciousness. A skinny shopaholic with a penchant for ponies and expensive real estate. This couldn't be further from the vision that Ruth Handler, the doll's inventor, had for her creation. She'd seen her own daughter playing endlessly with these little paper cutout dolls that you used to get in issues of Bunty magazine, giving them all kinds of different outfits and making up really elaborate stories and adventures. But there was no 3D equivalent for that on the market, just baby dolls, which obviously tend to encourage little girls to play at being mummy. Ruth saw Barbie as a way to open up a whole new world of possibilities. She said, "My whole philosophy of Barbie was that through the doll, the girl could be anything she wanted to be. Barbie always represented the fact that women have choices." In other words, the whole point of Barbie is that it's not about Barbie. It's about the narrative that she unlocks in the mind's eye of the child who's playing with her. How on earth do you make the value of all of that imaginative play tangible to skeptical parents? That was the challenge that was laid down to Mattel's agency, BBDO, and I want to show you now what they came up with a couple of years ago.
My name is Gwyneth, and I'll be your professor today. And I will be talking about the brain.
Hi.
Hello, I'm your veterinarian today.
You're kidding.
Nope, I'm Dr. Brooklyn. See?
Okay, doctor.
Oh, here, let me see. Good morning, everyone. I'm your new coach. My name is Maddie. Nice to meet you. I had the most fantastic day in the office. You'll never believe what happened. We got that new business I wanted. Have you ever seen him fly?
Have you seen him what?
Fly?
No.
My cat can fly.
Okay.
The dog's brain can't think as much as the human's brain because there's no high school for the dog. This is Peter, the Triceratops. Peter is 1 year old. The T-Rex, Sally, is 1,002,252 years old. Knees up like a unicorn. Higher, higher. I've been to New York, Transylvania, Pennsylvania. We can think and do lots of stuff with our brain. Now, does anybody know how big the brain is? Anybody? Sophia. It is medium. Medium? Very good.
Cute, huh? Anyone else got a medium-sized brain? But they kind of nailed it, right? And that film has become a real marker for the Barbie brand. With more than 50 million views to date, its resonance with a new generation of parents has reversed years of declining sales for this company. But for me, this goes beyond just advertising. The reception that the film received has given Mattel the confidence to reassess and reinvent the dolls themselves, with all of the insane amounts of reverse engineering of all of their production and processes that entails, to make it easier for little girls to find a doll that looks just like them. Because if they're going to be the heroes of their own stories, it helps to have relatable role models to make those dreams seem that little bit more attainable. Now, I think that the reawakening and restructuring that's taken place in the Barbie brand has lessons in it for anyone who's working in the media today. People's expectations all over the world have evolved faster than the imagery, ideas, and even the organizational infrastructure of the media industry. Just like Barbie, the entertainment and advertising world is in dire need of more than just a cosmetic makeover. That's why Barbie has kind of become my own personal plastic poster girl for if she can see it, she can be it, the call to arms of the Gina Davis Institute for Gender in the Media. Yes, that Gina Davis, the amazing star of Thelma and Louise. For the last 10 years, the nonprofit that she founded has been monitoring, publicizing, and working to redress the chronic underrepresentation and routine reductive stereotyping of women across the media landscape. Her mission is to increase the ratio of women seen across all roles, in particular the ones on screen, but also at every level and every layer throughout the industry. And this mantra, see it to be it, is basically her institute's articulation of that mission. And if you're in any doubt at all that this is a genuine problem, check this out. The more media a girl consumes, the fewer options she believes she has in life. I mean, can you believe that statement? Sit and process it for a while if you have to. This was a key finding from research that the Gina Davis Institute and ad agency J. Walter Thompson undertook a couple of years ago. And while Gina Davis and her amazing colleagues are helping to galvanize change in the entertainment sector, Adland, woohoo, finally is taking a long, hard look at itself as well. Last summer, Unilever, the world's second largest advertiser, launched an initiative called Unstereotype, following an internal audit that revealed just how chronically out of touch its commercials had become. Their research revealed that across its advertising output, women were shown as leaders and managers in a meager 3% of commercials. Women were portrayed as intelligent in 2% of commercials. Anybody want to hazard a guess at how many women were portrayed as funny? Can you see where this is going? 1%. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe they cast Melissa McCarthy in one of their commercials. I don't know. But clearly, the net result of all this is absolutely bloody woeful. In the movie industry, the Bechdel test has become a kind of casual rule of thumb for broadly rating the sexism in films. And it poses three basic questions about the narrative in question. Are there at least two named female characters? Do they have a conversation at any point with each other in the movie? And is that conversation about literally anything other than a man? I know women are so demanding, aren't they? But it feels absolutely like we need something similar for ads. There we are, this perfect kind of Twitter challenge for you this afternoon. Don't be afraid to set the bar low. To its credit, in fact, Unilever has actually done more or less exactly that, issuing their marketers with a checklist of questions that are designed to steer the female characters in their commercials away from the kind of Stepford Wives stereotypes and towards something a bit more kind of three-dimensional. Women who are full, authentic, and have an aspirational, achieving focus. Now, as tempting as it might seem to see that as an invitation to fill commercials with go-getting career women, I'm kind of hoping that the result is actually going to have a little bit more in common, at least in spirit, with this. Sport England's ode to participation, This Girl Can. I'm pretty sure a lot of you will have seen this, but it's worth reminding ourselves of the problem that this commercial set out to address. Women in the UK are far less involved in sport and exercise than men. And one of the main reasons for that, guess what, everybody? They feel judged. Ads for Nike and Adidas feature women who look like all they've ever done is work out. They're inspiring, but they're also unbelievably intimidating. And it turns out that what people really wanted was to see women like themselves. And that is pretty much exactly what they got. Take a look. This is fucking brilliant.
I'm the hottest round, and if you want me, y'all can stop me now. Is you with me now? Then biggie bounce. I know you dig the way I switch my style. Get your freak on, 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 get your freak on. People, here I come. Now sweat me when I'm done. Now people gather round. Now people jump around. Get your freak on, get your freak on.
I'm knackered.
Every time I see that ad, it absolutely slays me. And the 2.8 million women that it's helped to encourage back into sport presumably feel more or less the same way. Kim Gehrig, the woman who directed it, street cast most of the women in local swimming pools and gyms around the country, making her selection on the basis of the women's ideas, the things they talk to her about, their attitude, rather than just their appearance alone. This ad doesn't just show, it celebrates the women and the figures, the bodies that you just never seem to see on screens. And in the process, it expands our understanding of what authentic and aspirational can really mean. Now, while the debate about gender stereotyping has gathered momentum by looking at the representation of women, expanding the horizons for one group of people should obviously not mean limiting those of another. The body care brand Axe, or Lynx as we call it in the UK, part of the Unilever family, everybody, has been on its own mission to adapt to the evolving idea of what it means to be a man today. Their research showed that younger men globally were really kind of over the stereotypical depictions of manhood that they saw around them. The VP for Axe, Rick Struble, told Contagious they found that the vast majority of guys are seeing that femininity has changed. However, masculinity has stayed the same, and they are really frustrated about that, as well they might be. 98% of men have been told to man up at least once in their lives, and many were feeling the kinds of pressure that will sound all too familiar to the women in the room here today. 41% of guys in the UK are afraid of being judged for looking different, and only 5% of the guys in the UK agree with the statement, "I feel like an attractive guy." Pretty bleak state of affairs. So while Axe has always promised its customers a major, if entirely unreconstructed, confidence boost, it was clear that guys had actually moved on from that. It was finally time to stop suggesting that the answer to all of their prayers was in the can, and that it might actually instead lie within. Let's take a look.
Come on, a six-pack? Who needs a six-pack when you got the nose? Or a nose when you got the suit? Now you don't need a suit when you got the moves. Or moves when you got the fire. Or fire when you rock those heels. And heels when you ride those wheels. Looks, man, who needs looks when you got the books? Or books when you got some balls. And who needs all that when you get the door? When you got the dough, the brains, the touch, the that's right. Who needs some other thing when you got your thing? Now work on it.
Pretty awesome, right? Now, interestingly, like with Barbie, the emphasis is now on the person and not so much the product. So while Axe is doing its bit to expand our definition of what's sexy, other brands are also catching on to the idea that empowering people is a way more interesting creative challenge to address than simply trading in lowest common denominators. Last year, Channel 4's commitment to celebrating our Paralympic athletes through coverage of the Paralympics in London and Rio went a step further than the justifiably acclaimed adverts that they created, those badass Superhumans commercials that we'll all have seen. The broadcaster also decided to offer a £1 million of airtime prize to incentivize brands to come up with a bold, creative idea that put disability and diversity at the heart of a campaign. Now, we absolutely expect brands like Axe to equate screen time with sexy time. A lot of people were not expecting brands in the UK to effortlessly bring together confectionery, disability, and there's no other way to say it, a sex act. Let's take a look at what they actually did. Have a look at this.
So, new boyfriend.
Right.
And we are back at his, getting a little
Frisky.
don't frisky. My hands may have been wandering slightly. Go on. And then I start having a spasm.
No.
Which he misinterprets.
So awkward.
He wasn't complaining.
You're so bad.
That's what he said.
Fair play, well done. Bravo, Maltesers. Now, you can probably never unsee that, but the point is we shouldn't have to lure brands with £1 million of free media when 20% of the UK's population lives with some kind of disability. Like, getting people to see things differently is at the heart of effective advertising, and if you're doing any kind of filmmaking right, you're putting your audience into somebody else's shoes. Now, at the moment, the debate in the US over which public bathrooms transgender women should use might not seem like an obvious hook for a deodorant commercial, but ad agency Wyden & Kennedy from Portland in Oregon brought an unbelievable amount of insight, empathy, and also high stakes to a situation most of us are never, ever going to come close to experiencing. Let's take a look at their ad.
Shocker. You know that I waited for 2 weeks and I didn't get tickets?
2 weeks?
Yeah, every day.
No, I saw it and I didn't really love it as much as the rest of the world.
Yeah, I feel like I'll probably wait for the movie to come out. They're gonna make a movie soon.
Great dress.
It's really cute.
Secret, stress tested for women.
There is a tagline, there is no wrong way to be a woman. Nothing really happens in that ad, but somehow we feel what she feels. And sometimes maybe that's what progress looks like, a little bit kind of keep calm and carry on. Okay, we've come this far in the presentation, and I'm pretty sure almost none of you thought you were going to get away without at least one feminine hygiene ad, did you? A lot of you will remember this spot from the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. This year's Super Bowl was really, really tepid and kind of underwhelming in terms of its commercial output. But a couple of years ago, an ad for pads absolutely ruled the headlines at America's most kind of masculine sporting entertainment arena. We'll watch the commercial to remind ourselves of what happens in this. It's really kind of thought-provoking, and if you haven't seen it, it's kind of an interesting one to check out. Let's take a look.
Hi, Aaron. Show me what it looks like to run like a girl.
My hair.
Show me what it looks like to fight like a girl. Now throw like a girl.
Aw.
So do you think you just insulted your sister?
No. I mean, yeah, insulted girls, but not my sister.
My name is Dakota, and I'm 10 years old.
Show me what it looks like to run like a girl. Throw like a girl. Fight like a girl. What does it mean to you when I say run like a girl?
It means run fast as you can.
So it's 2 years since this ad took a really satisfying swing at the kind of unthinking language of discrimination that kind of wears away at the fabrics of people's expectations and aspirations. But the point that I want to make is this. Yes, language absolutely matters, but in the image and screen-obsessed culture that we live in now, our visual vocabulary matters just as much, if not more. We process visuals 60,000 times faster in our brains than we process text. And the impact and meaning that we take from what we see around us stays with us. Stereotypes are kind of a weird visual newspeak that erodes our thinking and our imagination and our ability to relate to others. And we need those faculties now more than we ever did. We need to add to our visual lexicon, not diminish it. So here's an example of one brand that is trying to kind of expand our visual lexicon a little bit. Just before Christmas, the cosmetics brand CoverGirl added a makeup-obsessed teenage high school boy called James Charles to their roster of CoverGirl ambassadors. We're going to watch his Instagram video of this really exciting piece of news. Take a look.
Hi guys, my name is James Charles and I'm a 17-year-old makeup artist. Today I'm living out one of my biggest dreams and I'm currently on set of my first ever TV commercial with CoverGirl. That's right, I am a new CoverGirl.
Is everybody. Well done, James, for that. So now Excitable James is absolutely a part of the CoverGirl family, appearing in ads with people like Katy Perry and Sofia Vergara. Now, those optics are the kind of thing that make a dent in the pop culture universe. But when he's also appearing, promoting their products in video tutorials on YouTube, the lingua franca of everyday life expands and adjusts accordingly as well. Showing has always been more powerful, after all, than telling. Ruth Handler absolutely knew that in her bones. And we all want to believe in a future of limitless possibilities, not just for our daughters, but for our sons too, and all the people in our lives. But this is where we actually are now, a world that often feels as though it's for other people and not us. It might seem as though there is a ridiculous yawning chasm between these two states, but the reality is that this stuff is actually just about a series of choices and decisions about who you cast and who you work with and under what circumstances. There is always something that you can do differently. And the truth is, we just need to get on with it and do things a little bit differently. Thanks very much, everybody.